morning. So today we are going to discuss semi-permeable membrane in detail, okay, in much more depth. So it is semi-permeable membrane. Semi-permeable membrane in short it is SPM. Okay. So I have told you earlier what is semi-permeable membrane. Okay. Semi-permeable membrane is such a membrane which allows particles of solvent to pass through it. But semi-permeable membrane do not allow the particles of solute to pass through it. Getting me? So semi-permeable membrane SPM allows the solvent particles to pass through it but do not allows solute particles to pass through it because of bigger size of solute particles, because of its bigger size. Generally, the size of solute particles are bigger than the size of solvent particles, and semi-permeable membrane is such a membrane which allows passage of solvent particles through it, because solvent particles are comparatively smaller than solute particles. So this semi-permeable membrane have small pores, and these pores are very small, and it allows only solvent particles to pass through it, because solvent particles are also very smaller in size. But when it comes to solute particles, generally solute particles are bigger in size, and that's why solute particles can't pass through the pores of the semi-permeable membranes. Semi-permeable membranes are of two types. This is SPM, semi-permeable membrane, and it is of two types. One is natural semi-permeable membrane, SPM, and other is artificial semi-permeable membrane. Artificial semi-permeable membrane, SPM. Okay. What is natural semi-permeable membrane? Natural semi-permeable membranes are, it is parchment membrane. It is bladder of goat and pig. It is cell membrane of plants. cell membrane of plants. Getting this? Natural SPM means what? Which occurs naturally. Which occurs naturally. That will be natural semi-permeable membrane. So natural semi-permeable membranes are parchment membrane, bladder of goat, okay, and pig. Getting the bladder of goat and pig. Cell membrane of plants. All these are what? All these are natural semi-permeable membrane. But the problem with this, okay, these are not a good working semi-permeable membrane. Means results obtained using natural semi-permeable membrane is not that much accurate. Getting this? And that's why we need to produce artificial semi-permeable membrane. So what is artificial semi-permeable membrane? Means man-made. Artificial semi-permeable membrane means man-made. So we can say this is man-made. Okay. So how can it be prepared? Okay, one example I am telling you. It is copper ferrocyanide, FeCN whole 6. Okay. How it is prepared? Just I am going to write it. So it is artificial SPM. Okay. So when potassium ferrocyanide, when we say aqueous solution of potassium ferrocyanide means, okay, I am writing it here. Okay, then I will write formula of potassium ferrocyanide okay, aqueous solution of potassium ferrocyanide and copper sulfate are mixed, and copper sulfate are mixed in a porous pot, getting in a porous pot, a guillotine. Okay, when aqueous solution of potassium ferrocyanide is we say means made to react, we can say this. Okay, when aqueous solution of potassium ferrocyanide and copper sulfate are mixed or made to react, we can say, okay, in a porous pot. This is important. In a porous pot, a gelatinous precipitate, PPT, gelatinous precipitate of copper ferrocyanide fills the fills the pores of the pot, and acts as semi permeable membrane, SPM. Got it? got it or not? Means what? When aqueous solution of potassium ferrocyanide. Potassium ferrocyanide means K4 FeCN whole 6. Okay, this is aqueous here. This is aqueous here. K4 FeCN whole 6 aqueous plus copper sulfate CuSO4, which is again aqueous. Okay, this is potassium ferrocyanide, which is aqueous, and copper sulfate, which is aqueous, is made to react in a porous spot. Made to react in a porous spot means spot having small holes. Okay, a gelatinous precipitate of copper ferrocyanide Cu2 FeCN whole 6. This is copper ferrocyanide. Okay, and it is a precipitate. It is a precipitate. So this is formed copper ferrocyanide. Okay, which is gelatinous precipitate, and this product, which is gelatinous copper ferrocyanide, fills the pores of the porous spot. Okay, and act as semi permeable membrane. So this is an example of artificial SPM. Okay, now there are various theory based upon semi working of semi permeable membrane. Getting me? This is what is semi permeable membrane. Okay, now it is various theories upon working of semi permeable membrane. Okay, so next topic is working of semi permeable membrane. So right here, working of semi permeable membrane or theory, various theories on working of SPM, and there are mainly three theories. First one is sieve theory. SIEVE, sieve theory of SPM. Second is vapor pressure theory. Vapor pressure theory of SPM. And third is solution theory. Solution theory of SPM. Getting this? So there are mainly three theories, okay, which is based on working of semi-permeable membrane, and out of these three, this second vapor pressure theory of SPM is most accepted theory. Okay. So just I will start with sieve theory of semi-permeable membrane. This one. Okay. So it is sieve theory of SPM, and what is this? According to this theory, SPM is like a sieve. SPM is like a sieve which is having having many small pores. Getting this? According to sieve theory of semi-permeable membrane. Okay. According to this theory, SPM is like a sieve. Sieve, you know, na? You means at your home. Okay. Uh, this sieve is used. Getting this? Okay. So according to this theory, SPM is like a sieve which is having many small pores or holes. Many small pores or holes. Okay, these holes are so small. These holes are so small that these holes are so small that only solvent particles can pass through it. Can pass through it because of its smaller size. Because of its smaller size. While the solute particles are not allowed. While the solute particles are not allowed. While the solute particles are not allowed to pass through it. Because of its bigger size. Now, this sieve theory of SPM fails. This sieve theory of SPM fails in case of solute size of solute particles smaller than the size of solvent particles. Getting this? So in this case, this theory fails because this theory tells. Okay. Now come to second theory. Okay, which is widely used, which is most accepted theory. Okay, and it is vapor pressure theory. So it is vapor pressure theory of SPM. And according to this theory, the vapor pressure of solvent, the vapor pressure the vapor pressure of pure solvent is more than the vapor pressure of a solution. Vapor pressure of a solution. Having non-volatile solute. Getting this now? So according to this theory, the vapor pressure of pure solvent, is more than the vapor pressure of a solution. We have discussed this. Okay, we know vapor pressure of a pure solvent is more than vapor pressure of a solution. Relative lowering in vapor pressure, lowering in vapor pressure, we have discussed now. Okay, and simply if it is pure solvent, then it is going to have more vapor pressure, and if some kind of non-volatile solute is added into this pure solvent, then it will become solution, and lowering in vapor pressure will occur. We have discussed this. Okay, so according to this theory, the vapor pressure of pure solvent is more than the vapor pressure of a solution, and that's why, and due to this movement of only solvent particles are allowed through SPM. Means if solvent is having more vapor pressure, we know now what is osmosis. Osmosis, I have told you, osmosis is simply, say here it is SPM. Say this side it is only solvent, say it is pure water. Pure water means solvent. Say here it is a water plus sugar, means sugar solution. It is sugar solution. Then we know, we have discussed, okay, through SPM, particles of solvent passes through SPM. Okay, means particles of solvent are allowed to pass through the SPM. So this is solvent now. So water will flow from, okay, if it is water, pure solvent, means it is having, its concentration is low concentration. It is diluted now. It is dilute. Nothing is there, so it is dilute. Low concentration. Here solute is mixed, means concentration is more. Okay, this is concentrated solution. This is conc solution, and I have told you in osmosis, solvent particles, okay, pass through SPM, and simply these solvent particles will pass through SPM and will reach to this concentrated solution, and you will see its quantity, okay, its volume is rising gradually. Getting this? This is osmosis, I have told you. So come to this theory. This theory is, according to this theory, the vapor pressure of pure solvent is more, so it will having more vapor pressure. Okay, and here we have added some sugar, non-volatile solute, so its vapor pressure formed is less. So here it is low vapor pressure. So you can just think now, it is having low vapor pressure, it is having more vapor pressure. So anything flows from higher concentration to lower concentration, from more to high, more vapor pressure to low vapor pressure. And that's why, since a pure water or pure solvent is having more vapor pressure and a solution is having less vapor pressure, okay, and that's why solvent particle will flow through the SPM towards the solution, means from high vapor pressure, more vapor pressure to low vapor pressure. And this is the theory, and this is most accepted theory. Got it? Now come to third theory, which is which has very limited application, okay, and that is solution theory. So third theory is solution theory. What is solution theory? According to this theory, those substance, okay, or those, say here, substance, okay, those substance can pass through, SPM, which can be dissolved in it, and those can't pass through SPM, which cannot be dissolved in it. Getting this? Very simple, I will make you understand. Okay. According to this theory, those substances can pass, only those substances can pass through SPM which can dissolve in it, and those substances which cannot dissolve in the SPM will not pass through the SPM. For example, say it is water. Here it is water. Okay, and this water, above this water, a layer of phenol. This is showing layer of phenol. And above this layer of phenol, aqueous solution of calcium nitrate, CaNO3 whole 2, okay, is placed. Getting this? Here it is water, and above this water a layer is there, that is layer of phenol, and above this a solution of calcium nitrate is kept. Phenol and water are miscible, means phenol dissolve in water or water dissolve in phenol. We can say both are miscible up to some extent. Getting this? So water can dissolve in this phenol, and due to this phenol will allow the water to pass through it, and you will come to see the volume of calcium nitrate, okay, is increasing, okay, gradually. slowly and slowly. Why? Because water through this SPM, here it is acting as semi-permeable membrane. Here layer of phenol is acting as semi-permeable membrane, and since water is soluble in this, okay, it is passing through the phenol. But this calcium nitrate is not soluble in phenol, and that's why calcium nitrate cannot pass through it. Okay, getting this? And that is written here. According to this theory, those substances can pass through SPM which can be dissolved in it, and those can't be passed through SPM which cannot be dissolved in it. So this is all about theories on working of SPM. Now come to experimental demonstration of osmosis. Okay. So it is experimental demonstration of osmosis. Okay. So for this, what to do? We are going to take two eggs of identical size. We are going to take two eggs of identical size. Eggs of, say here, two eggs of identical size. Okay, what to do? You know, the outer shell of egg, egg is like this, elliptical. Okay, and the outer shell, which is present as cover, the outer shell which is present as cover. Okay, the outer shell of egg is what? You know, it is calcium carbonate. It is made up of calcium carbonate. This is CaCO3. Getting this now? Also chalk which we use to write on board is made up of calcium carbonate. Okay. Not only chalk, marble which we use at our home is also what? Calcium carbonate. Getting this? And in the same way, the outer shell of an egg is made up of calcium carbonate. Okay. Calcium carbonate means what? Calcium is a metal. It is metallic carbonate. Metal carbonate. It is metal carbonate. And there is a property of acid that acid reacts with metal carbonate. Acid reacts with metal carbonate. Getting this now? So we want to remove the outer shell of the egg. So how to remove? It is very difficult to remove now. So what to do? We know this property. Acids reacts with metal carbonate to give salt, water and carbon dioxide. Okay. So what to do? Simply place these two eggs in acid. Say the acid is HCl. So here dilute HCl, not concentrated. Take here dilute HCl. And in this dilute HCl, just place the egg. Place the eggs. It is actually not looking like egg. Okay, but just consider it. Okay, consider it. So these are two eggs, and just keep this for some time in dilute HCl. Then what will happen? This calcium carbonate will react with this HCl like this. I am going to write the equation: calcium carbonate plus HCl. Then it will form calcium chloride plus CO2 plus H2. By the way, we need to remove the outer shell of the egg, and by this we can remove. Okay. Now, when the outermost shell of the egg is removed, then have you ever mind there is a thick membrane present inside the outer shell of the egg, and that acts as semi-permeable membrane. Getting na? That acts as semi-permeable membrane. So what to do? Now after removing the outer shell of egg, you simply take two say pot. You can take two pot, okay, and in one pot you simply keep water. In one pot you keep water. So in this only water is there. In this only water is there. Okay, and in other pot or container, take salt solution. Take salt solution. So what is this? This is salt solution. Means NaCl plus water. NaCl plus H2O. And this is also called as brine water. This is also called as brine water. Okay. So we have two eggs. We have removed outer shell of the egg. So place one egg in water and the other egg in this salt solution. Okay, and these two eggs are identical in size. These two eggs are identical in size. Okay, these two are identical in size. Now here it is water, means it is solvent, pure solvent. Okay, here it is brine water, means it is concentrated solution. It is pumped solution. Okay, so what happens? Osmosis will take place. How? Inside eggs, there is concentrated liquid present. And we know what is osmosis. Osmosis is spontaneous movement of solvent particles. Okay, spontaneous movement of solvent particles or means particles of dilute solution towards concentrated solution. Okay, so here it is solvent and here some concentrated liquid is present inside the egg, which is concentrated. So what will happen? Through the SPM, here I told you that thin membrane, okay, above this egg works as SPM. So it is acting here as SPM, semi-permeable membrane. This is thin film is acting as semi-permeable membrane. So what will happen? From lower concentration to higher concentration, okay, there will be flow. So water is lower concentrated, means lower concentration, and this liquid is having higher concentration. So from what means through this SPM, water will enter in the egg, and what will happen? Due to this, you will see, okay, size of egg is grown, means swallowing will occur. Swallowing of egg. Okay, and in this case what will happen? In this case This salt solution means this salt solution is more concentrated here. This is more concentrated, and the liquid present inside the egg is less concentrated as compared to this brine solution. So again osmosis will occur. What is osmosis? Osmosis is flow of lower concentrated liquid towards higher concentrated liquid through the SPM. So through this SPM, this is SPM, okay. This time this outer liquid is higher concentrated, okay, and it is lower concentrated. So from lower concentration to higher concentration, okay, liquid will start flowing. And what will happen? This time the size of egg will shrink. Okay, so what is happening here? The size of egg is shrinking. The size of egg is shrinking due to osmosis. Here, swelling of egg due to osmosis. So what is this? This is experimental demonstration of osmosis. Got it or not? Okay. Again, two terms are here. Here, this osmosis is called as endoosmosis. This osmosis is called as endoosmosis. Endoosmosis. Okay. And this osmosis is called as exoosmosis. Getting this or not? Means from solvent to, okay, through SPM, flow of solvent is taking place, and inside the egg, okay, inside the egg means this solvent is entering, okay. It means what? It means it is endoosmosis. Endo, inside, okay. It is exo, outside, means liquid is coming outside. So this is exoosmosis. Got it? Okay. Okay. Now come to difference between diffusion and osmosis. Diffusion, you know, I am going to rub this. Okay. Diffusion, you know na. Diffusion is simply, diffusion is the spreading out of, okay, intermixing and spreading out of two or more substances due to motion of its particles. What is diffusion? Intermixing and spreading out of two or more substances due to motion of its particle. Motion of its particles. And in case of osmosis, here it is movement of solvent particles or motion of solvent particles. So in both cases, motion is playing some kind of key role. Okay, so that's why we are going to understand the difference between diffusion and osmosis. So write osmosis and diffusion. this side it is osmosis. So for osmosis SPM is required. Semi permeable membrane is required. Okay. For diffusion, no need of SPM. Okay. Second thing, movement of movement of only solvent particle, movement of only solvent particle in one direction. In this case, movement of both particles in opposite direction takes place. Movement of both particles, that is solvent and solute, or whatever the substances are, movement of both particles in opposite direction takes place. In opposite direction takes place. Getting this? Diffusion, okay, movement of all the particles takes place, okay, but in case of osmosis I have told you only movement of solvent particles takes place, okay. Then next point is osmosis can be stopped. Osmosis can be stopped or reversed using higher pressure at concentrated solution higher pressure on concentrated solution. But diffusion can't be stopped or reversed. Can't be stopped. Getting this or not? Osmosis can be stopped as well as it can be reversed. Okay. We will discuss it in our next video, that how osmosis can be stopped or reversed. Okay. For this moment, you just think you just suppose now that osmosis can be stopped or reversed. Okay. Whereas diffusion can't be stopped. Next is osmosis takes place. Osmosis takes place from lower concentration to higher concentration. From lower concentration to higher concentration. But diffusion takes place from higher concentration to lower concentration. It takes place from higher concentration region to lower concentration region. This is very important, okay. It takes place from higher to lower concentration, while osmosis, okay, takes place from lower concentration to higher concentration, as we have discussed, from solvent to solution, or from dilute solution to concentrated solution. Next is this is common in liquids only. This is common in liquids only. While diffusion is common in both liquids as well as gases. Got it or not? So these are few basic difference between osmosis and diffusion. Okay. Now we have to discuss osmotic pressure, which is very important. Okay. Then reverse osmosis. Okay. So it will take more time to explain osmotic pressure. Okay. I have to make you understand, and I know it is going to take more time. Okay. So in our next video, I am going to explain you osmotic pressure, reverse osmosis, and many more things. Okay. Thank you.